thank you for coming back and joining me again and not giving up. So I'm Amanda Godfrey from Mystical Dragon, um, and I just wanted to do a little Facebook Live because we've got the full moon tomorrow night, and I have done a couple of, I think I've done two Facebook Lives just before a full moon where I just talk a little about some of those key energies that we're going to experience, and just giving some ideas about ways we could work with the energy. For me, being magical isn't just about spells, although I do have a couple of spell suggestions for those that like their spells. But for me, when we're working on that magical level, it's about working with the energy. So that's why I tend to talk more, try and give you ideas, more than just spells or ritual to do, but spiritual ideas that is working in line with the energies of the current full moon. So that's the aim tonight. Um, here in Australia, we're experiencing the Virgo full moon is for us tomorrow night. It's full at about 7:17 tomorrow night in Melbourne, if you want to be really technical. And I looked up a few other places around the world. London, it'll be 8:17 a.m. Tomorrow, and in New York, it'll be 3:17 a.m. That we'll have the full moon completely full. So, sorry, I don't have Scotland for you, Narelle. I realise there's lots of places around the world. It's all slightly different, but I believe for everybody, it actually falls at some stage on Saturday. So this gives us a little bit of preparation time by talking about it tonight. So, firstly, every full moon. Oh, I'm so pleased to hear that the sound is better. Thank you. Firstly, every full moon, there are some standard things that we can kind of do at any full moon, no matter what star sign it falls in. And those are things like charging up our crystals. So that's getting your crystals out in the moonlight, whether that's literally perhaps collecting them up on a tray and putting them outside, or putting them on windowsills, or somewhere where they'll be able to get some of that beautiful full moon energy, because that will cleanse and charge them. We can also do things like make moon water, which is a wonderful thing to have as a basis for any kind of potions or crystal elixirs and things like that. So charging up some moon water is a great idea to do at full moons. If you're not sure how to do that, I actually have a Facebook video, a YouTube video on Mystical Dragon's YouTube channel. I created, I think it's about a 5-minute video there explaining how to create your own moon water. So if you're interested to do that, aren't sure, then check that out. And I'll kind of teach you how to do that. Any kind of spell work is really good at the full moon, because the full moon energy is potent for healing, it's potent for manifesting, it's potent for clearing and releasing, it's potent for everything. So any kind of spell work that you want to do, any kind of ritual work that you want to do, it's obviously going to be a good time to do it. And that's why it gets talked about so much in magical circles, because it's just really potent energy that will kind of give a boost beneath anything that you want to do. So even if nothing that I talk about tonight inspires you, but you're feeling like there's a real key issue going on in your life at the moment you want to work on, then please do focus on that, and don't stress about the energies I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is going to be like an extra layer for you to be able to work with if you choose. But it's all about what suits us at this time in our life as well. So weigh that up for yourself. It's a great time for meditation, because we usually are a bit more tuned in, and there's kind of more messages and guidance that can come through. Also a really good time for doing any kind of divination, so that can help us in order to get some really clear guidance from spirit. With divination being, you can utilize any of those wonderful tools like pendulums and oracle cards, tarot cards, runes, and any of those kind of tools that we can use to kind of help sit down and really focus on some guidance and some answers for ourselves. And it's also a really great time to think about maybe refreshing your altar. So if you have an altar or a sacred space that you like to work with, the full moon can be a really good time to actually, let's refresh that altar and put some new energy into it, make sure it's dusted and clean and all those kind of good things. So it can be a really good time to also refresh your altar. So Virgo moon in particular has got certain energies that it's really going to boost. So it's going to kind of focus in on certain energies, particularly things like health and dietary concerns. Virgo's really good at putting energy behind. Employment, making decisions, being a little bit analytical and thoughtful and really focused on the mind, a bit more over being focused on the heart as well. So lots of intellectual stuff. It's really good at putting energy behind exams and study. So it's a good time to be able to do any kind of study, workshops, all those sorts of things, getting better grades. It's great to be able to focus our energy there. And it's also particularly good at putting healing energy into our intestines and our nervous system as well. Honestly, I find the Virgo full moon is a good time to do any kind of physical healing or any kind of healing because it tends to, I find, be a bit more focused on the physical body. So it is a great time to do any kind of physical healing work that we want to do. Yes, I'm sure it will help you with being focused on decision making, definitely. So here's going through just a few ideas that are focused around those key energies that I've just mentioned. So you might want to do some work in particular on healing the physical body because it's such a good time for doing that. So you can honestly do things like let's give myself some Reiki or some other healing modality you might be trained in, making sure that that's a focus for you to do. You might go and get a healing from somebody else and arrange that over this full moon and do some healing. You might organise to maybe see somebody that's a medical practitioner that's like, I've been putting off seeing this person. I've felt that it would be a good avenue to explore. I know I need to go make that appointment. So that would be a good time to initiate that, is at the Virgo full moon as well. It's a great time to start diets or to make a change to your diet. So if you're like, I've been putting off needing to take gluten out of my diet or get off dairy or whatever it might be that you've been putting off or know you need to do or feel guided to do, then the Virgo full moon is a really great time to make a change like that. So this is a good time to maybe implement something like that because it'll have a lot of energy behind it for you. So definitely consider doing something like that, even, starting the gym or doing, getting into a good meditation routine. This is all focused about taking care of us and our physical body, our beautiful physical vehicle. So consider anything like that around this full moon is going to be a great time that will put energy behind any of those things. Now, I have also shared a spell that's connected to doing healing. We can do healing for ourselves with this spell, or you could adapt it to do healing for somebody else to send some healing distantly. And it's working with Archangel Raphael. So I did share it yesterday morning. It was on a Facebook post. It is also on Mystical Dragon's Book of Shadows. So on our website, mysticaldragon.com.au, under resources, I have an online Book of Shadows. It's got about 25 spells there currently. And there is an Archangel Raphael healing spell that is there that you would be able to connect with as well if you would like an idea of a healing spell to be able to do. On our Book of Shadows, I also have a diet spell for anyone that's been wanting to start the diet side of things and wants a bit of extra energy behind that. I actually have a diet spell that is in our Book of Shadows as well that you might want to have a look at and see if that connects with you to perhaps be able to use and put some energy behind starting a new diet and kind of, helping to keep the momentum behind a new diet. So just some options if you feel guided to do a spell to assist you with any of that healing the body and making some of those changes. This is also, like I mentioned, a great time to focus on any kind of study. So you could literally do a workshop or a course over this weekend, or even just study up if there's something you've already started, perhaps a course you're already doing, or you might be at school, um, and you need to put some energy into that study, then over the weekend would be a good time to focus on doing that study, or to do a workshop or even an online course or any of that. This is kind of like a really great time to do that. It's good to do study and to put some energy behind your study. Narelle's just asked what size candle to use for the healing spell. I find we sell little wish candles that are they're only quite small, and they last for about 2 hours, and I find they're really effective for doing any of your spell work, and particularly the healing spell they would work really nicely for. So it doesn't have to be a huge candle for any of the spells that I have written and are on our Book of Shadows. So just one of the smaller 2-hour candles work really nice. Or if you're feeling guided and you've got the time to keep an eye on your candle, you could use something that was bigger, like a dinner candle, or a taper candle. They work well, but they often take about 10 to 12 hours to burn down, depending on the quality of them. So it's a long time to nurse a candle. But I certainly wouldn't use anything like a pillar candle. You could also use like a tea light candle, the smaller candles that we use in oil burners and things like that too. Well, I'll get to some crystal ideas very soon, Heather. Don't stress, darling. So that answers that question with candles, and also I've just mentioned about putting energy behind doing any kind of study. So this is a great time to do some study or some reading, or workshops and things like that. If that is your focus, fluorite is a beautiful crystal to work with, which helps us with memory and with retaining what we are studying and what we're reading. So it's a really great go-to crystal, I find, to help you in remembering. Rosemary is a really great herb to use when it comes to memory as well, remembering things and triggering our memory and recall as well. So they would be two really good, a good crystal and a good herb to work with if that's something that's calling you to do. This is also a really good time to work on employment. So if you're not really happy with the job that you have, you're feeling, not really satisfied, or maybe you don't have a job and you're really looking for work and wanting to find a new job, then the Virgo full moon is a really great time to put energy behind any level of employment. Perhaps you're wanting to get a pay rise or go up the ladder at work, get a new job, change jobs. This is the ideal time to make a change in job. So if you have been offered a new job, this is a good time to take on new job, but also to do any kind of spell work or energy work in relation to manifesting new work as well. So in relation to that, I don't necessarily have a complete spell that's up on Mystical Dragon's website that I've written as of yet, but I would say to you, you would be looking at an orange candle would be really appropriate for anything on a job level. So whatever level it is, whether changing, getting promotions, whatever it is, orange candle is really good to work with for that. I find that writing lists, like dot points of the aspects of your work that you would really like to have, as being a really effective way in manifesting with work. So writing down all the aspects that you would really like to be part of that new job, all the things that you really enjoy. I really love working with people. I'd like to be able to utilize my psychic abilities or my nursing certificates or whatever it happens to be. Like, put those dot points down. What is it that you would really like to have? I'd love to have, people that I work with that are really respectful and friendly, and, all those kind of wonderful things. Just jotting them down. You don't have to get so specific as to this is the job that I want and have a job absolutely outlined, but having the dot points about all the aspects that are important to you in a new job. And then you can charge up your candle with all of those thoughts and ideas and aspirations around that new job. Charge it up with that idea and all of those thoughts. You can put your paperwork underneath your candle and light your candle up, and it can be as simple as that to do a really powerful employment spell. So You can add things like crystals, like clear quartz would be wonderful as an amplifier, or something like a citrine or a pyrite would be a really great crystals to add with that as well, because they're connected to money and manifesting too. So just a few ideas, which are always charge up your crystals, always charge up your candles with your spells. Put your energy and intent into whatever you're using. And then you could keep working with that list, have it in your journal somewhere you can reflect on it. You could create it into a vision board showing all the different aspects of a new job and have that somewhere where you can see it. So there's lots of different things you could do with that list. You could even set it on fire and burn your employment list, to hand it off to the universe and say, this is what I need in a new job. Please help me manifest it as quickly as possible and smoothly as possible. Be careful when you ask for things like employment changes too, because sometimes if you are working, you can find you're no longer working because it's part of that. Okay, well, you don't want to be at that job anymore. We'll help you release that job so you can move into the next one. So always be a bit careful with how you word asking universe for that next job. It's about moving it into it smoothly, and being able to create the opportunity to move into that smoothly. But certainly perfect time to create new employment. Yes, I do have a list of best candle colors to use for different spells, but it usually goes with our candle packs that we sell at Mystical Dragon. So we have a candle pack that kind of has one of every color candle and a few white ones in it, and that's where my list usually is. Sorry, Narelle, I don't have anything up online at this point, but I may end up adding it somewhere. Oh, thank you, Sandra. The wish candles are beautiful. They really are. So this is also a really great time to be able to make decisions as well and find solutions. So if you have been finding there's something you need to make a decision on, you need to get a bit more decisive, be able to move forward in an area of your life, then the Virgo full moon is really great for doing that as well. So like I said, this is a good time to do any kind of divination. So often that can be a really good way to help us in making decisions and finding solutions for ourselves. So, maybe decide you're going to make some time, if that's where you're at, to do some divination or to do some meditation and ask for guidance. Perhaps call in your spirit guides or call in a particular divinity and ask for their assistance, and even ask them to show you some signs. So once you get, you feel like you've got an answer, ask them to show you some signs that, yes, this is confirmation of the answer that I've got as well. So don't forget, we can ask them to do things like that too. And that way we feel a bit more confident in the decision that we're making as well. And on that level, I do have a Seeking Answers and Guidance spell that's on the online Book of Shadows too, if you want to check it out. My Book of Shadows is free. That's on the website there. So there's quite a few spells that you can have a look at and check out. The other side that I wanted to mention with this full moon is I'm really guided. It is an earth sign, Virgo, and I'm really guided that this is a time to really connect with the earth and to take some time to be a little bit grounded this full moon. So doing things like going for a walk out in nature is really ideal. Maybe go to the green places if that's what you love. I love my trees and green places. Or if you're more of a beach person, make sure you go for a walk out on the beach. And just connect with that energy. Or if you can't really go out, make sure you get out in the garden, do some gardening, take your shoes off, get your feet on the earth. Perhaps do something like create a fairy garden or do something to honor the fairies. So perhaps take some offerings out there for the fairies. They love food offerings, bread and milk and honey. Anything, I always think anything that the animals will love and appreciate, the fairies always love and appreciate, and the fairies take some of the energy from that food, and then the animals will often come in and eat that for them. We can also use things like crystal chips as an offering with the fairies as well. Well, good luck with that, Brianna. I hope he makes the same decision as you do. Um, so yes, anything on that earthy level, feels like a really appropriate thing to do with this Virgo full moon as well. So definitely I would encourage you to look at doing something that's involved with the earth or the fairies or those earthy kind of elemental energies and connecting on those levels too. Always the full moon is really great for doing any kind of meditation, and every full moon and new moon, beautiful Laura from Mystical Dragon and Amethyst Light Therapies runs guided meditations that she does with sound, and it includes some chanting and singing bowls and things like that. They're always beautiful, and she works with the energy. So this weekend she's working with that Virgo full moon energy, and they last for about half an hour. They're live online, so you can do it from anywhere in the world. So that will be running tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. I'm not sure how that translates for other places in the world, but really well worth having a look at if you're considering what you might like to do at this full moon as well. Only $10 a head to join in with that one, and you can book through Mystical Dragon's website. So if you jump in there, you'll see under study we have a live online menu, and the meditations are tucked in under there, so easy to book online if you need. So something to think about as well to help with that connection. That is essentially the ideas that I have for you guys for this full moon. It's a nice list that I think will give you, a few ideas of things that you might like to think about doing. Please know that even though the full moon is for us tomorrow night, don't stress about having to do it at the time. I mean, I talk about what time it is, but don't stress yourself. You don't need to be doing any spell work at 7:17 p.m. tomorrow night to access that full moon energy. You could actually do full moon work already tonight if you wanted to, anytime tomorrow, anytime the day after. We usually have about that 3-day window when the full moon energy is really potent. So know the day of and a day either side, you've really got that potent energy still. So, don't stress yourself out if tomorrow's not looking like a good day to do any of your manifesting that you might want to do. Perhaps if Sunday works better for you, then plan to do it Sunday. You'll still be able to work with that full moon energy for sure. So I really hope that you guys really enjoy this full moon energy. It's been a real full-on week on an energy level. We've had lots of solar things going on, solar flares and solar storms, and quite a few things going on with the Schumann resonance in the lead up to this full moon. And so if you already are a bit like me and you tend to feel the full moon energy without even needing that extra stuff to help make you extra sensitive, then you might be feeling even more sensitive than normal at the moment. So know that that's okay. Doing things like working with the earth and grounding is going to be really helpful. I find that golden tiger's eye and the crystal selenite, they're really great crystals to work with when we've got a lot of solar stuff that's going on. Moonstone is a beautiful crystal to work with every full moon, so it's a great one to be able to grab. And if you're really struggling on an emotional level, then moonstone really helps us with being able to kind of process the emotions and be able to be a little bit more settled on that emotional level too. So that could be a great crystal to reach for at the moment, especially if you're struggling at the moment too. A real lots of goddess energy that comes through with moonstone as well. So a beautiful crystal to work with. So I am wishing you guys all the most success with whatever it is, whatever manifesting or releasing or healing work that you choose to do at this full moon. I hope you feel really empowered, and I hope that you are able to manifest some of these things that you really are looking for and hoping to be able to create and do for yourself. So wishing you a beautiful full moon and a beautiful weekend, and I look forward to connecting with you guys all again really soon. Bright blessings, everybody.